Hey, can we verify that we've got good voiceover commentary coming out on the live stream? Hey, can we verify that we've got good voiceover commentary coming out on the live stream? And can we verify that we've got good voiceover commentary going out on the live stream? And one more time, can we verify we've got good voiceover commentary going out on the live stream? Hey, what's up, Erin? She has joined us here for the beginning of this Streamers Weekly Tech Talk, which we're going to be doing here on a weekly basis in the Next Level Streamers group. I'm going to do the best that I can. I just got done with a 1 hour long podcast, maybe a bit longer, and my throat is scratchy. I've been fighting off a cold and sore throat for the last couple of weeks. But I will do the best that I can. Gary, I think, asked me to try and do one of these weekly. We might run short on topics, and I may not be able to do them every week, but we're going to try and go here. I'm also really horrible about tracking time, so I'm going to try and keep these to 3 to 5 minutes, but I will probably fail, definitely out of the gate. Tonight, I wanted to talk about video cards, GPUs. We're going to do that maybe another week. And one of the talks I really want to have with everyone here is whether or not you should use your GPU or your CPU when you are doing live streams. Unfortunately, we can't do that this week. So, my next best topic, and I'm definitely open to requests, and once we get these rolling, I definitely want to hear from you guys the type of tech support talks that you want to hear. We're going to talk about webcams, and I just realized that none of you guys know who I am. Welcome to the weekly tech talk here on Next Level Streamers. My name is Agascally Stamus from Gearworks.com, the E2KG Network podcasting channel, the Rounding Off Infinity gaming channel on YouTube, and the For Love of Game gaming page on Facebook, and also one of your fellow members here on Next Level Streamers. This is the weekly tech talk. I'm going to be talking about webcams. First off, out of the gate, we had a discussion a few weeks ago. Some members of this group, although we were doing it on a different forum, we were talking about the importance of webcams in your live streams. Now, lots of streamers are of different opinions. Do webcams matter? Are they important? Can you do without them? A lot of the things that we're going to talk about there is a bit of what I will call streamer pride at the number of followers that people can have and not do stuff. And that's an interesting perspective to have. And there's certainly things, everybody can't do everything, and I get that people have financial constraints, but I don't know, I think it's a little snobbish to not create the best content that you have if you very well have the capability to do so. One of the things that I want to try and resolve in these weekly tech talks is the fact that unfortunately a lot of streamers, for various reasons, just don't know. And a lot of that is because there hasn't been a really great effort to aggregate a lot of this technical support information in one place. Now, we're going to be creating some of that content now or here, so you will have at least one place that you can go to hear discussions on a bunch of these topics. So here's the thing about webcams from a viewer's perspective. Um, a lot of viewers will stumble across your streams by channel surfing, essentially what we used to do in the 70s and 80s with the television, and just flip through or scroll through a bunch of television channels. You do it today if you're still on cable, although if you're still on cable, I would advise you to get off. People pull up the Twitch and they pull up Mixer and they look at this array of boob tube squares, tiles on their computer screen, and they scroll through when they're not watching their already subscribed to favorite streamer, and they're looking for new streamers that whose content they want to consume. I don't know about you guys, but when I scroll through a screen and I see live streams with no webcams, I skip those because there are live streams with webcams, there are live streams without. I watch streams, and when I do, I want to get to know the streamer and get a sense of who that person is. That's more easily facilitated when that person's on camera. And again, I understand that there are different reasons for not being on camera. You can't afford it. Some people have high levels of anxiety, so on and so forth. But the point is that if you don't have a webcam, you place yourself at risk of not picking up viewers who are just kind of casually scrolling through all of the live streamers that are on at a particular time. The second thing that I want to talk about tonight is once we get past the should I have a webcam or not, then there's a shortfall in streamer knowledge of the types of webcams that are available. And unfortunately, a lot of streamers only know about the 4 primary webcams. All of them are by Logitech. It's the Logitech C310, the Logitech C920, C922, and C930. First of all, I would strongly recommend to you, don't buy the C310. 90% of the time that I see that webcam, it is within $10 to $20 of the 920, 922, or 930. And if it's that close, just save an extra 10 or 20 bucks and get the C920. It's a world of difference in camera quality and lens quality. The C310 is a 720p camera. Just get the C920. Now, once you're in a C920, that's kind of the difference between a $30 bottle of wine and a $100 bottle of wine. There's not a ton of difference, particularly in the small webcam port that you're going to have in your live stream. The 920, 922, and 930 all pretty much perform equally. But again, I would offer that that's not the limit of the type of camera that you can employ in your live stream. You can use all sorts of different cameras. You can use a DSLR. A lot of you guys already have good cameras, particularly if you're parents or family people. You probably have already invested in a good camera to take pictures of your kids. You can use those higher quality cameras as your webcam in your live stream. You could use camcorders. There's an array of different cams that you can use besides just a webcam, and we're going to talk about one of those tonight. So one of the ones that I have with me that I'm going to be using in my live streams this week is this right here. This is the Zoom Q2N handy video recorder. I don't really like the last part of that brand name, but Zoom is a North American company that makes cameras that are really targeted at audio artists, and they're really made to do studio video recordings or small venue video recordings and capture both the video and audio. The claim to fame of both this camera and actually the camera that I'm using tonight, which is the Zoom Q8, although I'm not using the microphone array on the Zoom Q8. But the claim to fame for these is they actually have really great microphones. Now, one of the other things I would say about cameras is whatever webcam you pick, don't use the microphone on the webcam. They're some of the most horrible microphones created on the face of the planet. Don't do that to yourself. Use the webcam for the video. Don't use it for the audio. Use a separate microphone. Unless you're going to use one of these. Again, the Zoom Q2N or the Zoom Q8. The Q2N has the microphone array up here in the top half or top third of the webcam, of the camera. Again, they're specifically made to pick up high quality audio recordings. I will try and post some examples where I did a hardware review of these cameras so that you can hear the audio quality. The Q2N has volume control right here on the side. So again, one of the things that's really nice in a streaming setup is the more hardware controls that you have, so you don't have to physically walk over to your streaming PC and monkey around with the software sliders in OBS. That's a good thing when you're in a live stream and somebody tells you, hey, I can barely hear your voice above the in-game audio. you can adjust that volume right here. Here on the side, you have a micro USB port, and I have a cable plugged in right there. You also have a micro HDMI port. Now for me, my micro USB cable is plugged into a USB 3.0 5-meter extension cable. So this is a 15-foot USB 3.0 cable that can run over to my streaming PC. One of these talks we'll talk about cables and the importance thereof as well. On the back, you get this nice display. This is another reason I really like this webcam, or this camera, I keep calling it a webcam, is, and I have it mounted on top of a tablet stand here, and I don't want to take it off because I'm actually using it for live streaming later this week. But you could, unlike a webcam where you can't get in and fiddle with any of the settings directly on the webcam, you can do so with this camera. You can adjust the field of view, which is really just the zoom effects, and I was able to do this tonight, not on this camera, but on the other zoom camera that I was using. Before I went into my podcast, the zoom level was a little too far in, so I was able to adjust that directly with the hardware controls right on the camera. So that's a nice feature, which you don't get with a Logitech webcam. And then you also have a high-pass band filter that you can enable here as well. If you were going to do a local recording, if you do game captures as well as live streams, in the base of the camera there is a slot for a micro SD card. It takes up to a 128 gigabyte micro SD card, and it can run under its own power with 2 AA batteries. Another really nice feature of this, if you wanted to use it, in addition to the own highly specialized microphone array that it has at the top third of the camera, it has its own 3.5mm stereo jack. If you wanted to use an equally high quality but separate microphone, you could use that as well and run it all through the camera and address both the camera and the microphone in OBS. Finally, the reason why I really like these cameras as well is they're very tiny in comparison. You know, you've got webcams and they're neat because they have the little monitor hooks on them. When you're using other stuff, larger, more higher quality cameras, it does get a little difficult, and we'll talk about camera scaffolding and mechanical gear as well during one of these talks. But they do get difficult to rig up in places where they're stable and you don't have to worry about them tipping over. So this camera is one of the smallest and lightest, highest quality cameras that I've been able to find, and it can be easily positioned anywhere. Again, I have it on top of this camera clip, which is like basically kind of a Doritos bag potato chip clip, except it holds on to things at like, I don't know, 30-something PSI. So I just have it clipped onto a little tablet stand, and then I'll put this tablet stand on a stool, and then that's what I'll use for my live streams this week when I'm playing from console. Now, this camera costs about $150, so when things are on sale, it's probably about twice as much as one of those 3 Logitech cameras that we talked about. Again, I use it, excuse me, sorry. As I mentioned, I'm sorry, I've been fighting a cold. Yeah, sorry, there's a lot of people showing up in the stream. I'm going to try and wrap this up, though. This is about $150. Now, a lot of things that you will hear from me, because I do other video content creation, I do podcasts, I do hardware reviews on my YouTube channel. I get it, stuff is expensive. This stuff is best suited for people who might use it for other things besides their live streams. But if you're somebody who's streaming a ton of time, it's not a horrible investment. And look to catch it on sale somewhere. And I think that's about it. Like I said, I'll try and post a YouTube link for when I did my hardware review of this so you can hear the audio quality. Let me come back once again back around to why I'm talking about this camera. We talked a little bit about webcams. It's a positive if you have a webcam up on your stream when people are scrolling, trying to find streamers kind of casually and at random. But on top of that, again, pretty much everybody uses those same 3 webcams, right? The Logitech C920, 922, and 930. This is an opportunity for you to differentiate your content. One of the reasons why I like using different cameras other than those stock 3 is because I can position them in different places. They're higher quality. When I use my DSLR or my mirrorless interchangeable lens camera, I can put different lenses on them. It's an entirely different effect when you're using something like a portrait lens, or something that's got a not really nice depth of field on the lens, and you can actually create the bokeh effect, right? All this crazy stuff that like people talk about for the iPhone. When you can create and shape those types of effects, it gives you an opportunity to change the vector of your content and really shape it and differentiate it. And I would strongly recommend that you at least expose yourself to the awareness of those products so you can make conscious, deliberate choices about the equipment that you use in your streaming setup. Since we have so many people in here, so I see Zach mentions that he uses the Razer Kaio. I also use that as well. The Kaio is a good camera because it has an integrated ring light directly in the webcam housing. So we're going to talk about lighting another day. But what's really nice about the Kaio is you can get away with not setting up any additional lighting in your streaming studio, and still create a very nice lighting effect in your webcam port. So since we have so many people in the live stream, I'm gonna give it maybe about 30 seconds to see if anybody has any other questions that are pertinent to this specific topic, or just wants to call out, any requests for future topics while we're hanging out here on the live stream in the chat. So the price range of the Kaio. I think the Kaio is about a $100. Yeah, Zachary just said it. It's about a $100 webcam. But again, you get that integrated ring light. Now, if you talk about buying a webcam and a separate ring light, you're probably talking about upwards of $200. And I've looked at ring lights. The major problem I have is it's always sketch when you try and have confidence that you're buying the thing that's going to fit on your tripod or your lamp stand. I have researched them several times, and each time I walk it back because I'm like, I'm just not confident that I'm buying the right thing. One of these days I'll have to try and experiment with it, but I haven't been that confident. And Aaron, you and I have talked about lighting. At the end of the day, I just decided, look, I'm just going to buy my cameras and my lighting separate, and that will be fine because I know that each of them will work by themselves, and if I just set them all up together, those will work. But like I said, I bought the Razer Kaio because I wanted to test it, and it's a fine camera, and has that advantage of having the integrated ring light. Any other questions or things anybody wants to throw out before we get off here? Like I said, I'll pause for about 30 seconds here. Okay, well that was about 15, but I think that suffices for anybody who had needed an opportunity to ask any questions. If you do, after I sign off, by all means, you can still put them in the comments under this video, and we can talk about them at some point later. Thanks once again, everybody, for joining in on the Next Level Streamers Weekly Tech Talk, episode number 1. This has been Agasically Stamus from Gearworks.com, the E2KG Network podcasting channel, the Rounding Off Infinity gaming channel on YouTube, and the For Love of Game gaming page on Facebook, and also from the Next Level Streamers group. About the lightning episode. Yeah, we'll cue those up, Aaron, definitely. We'll be talking about all sorts of stuff. So thanks once again. I appreciate you bearing with my scratchy voice and a sore throat. That's going to do it for me for tonight. I'm out of here. Until next time, take care of yourself. Stay safe out there. Happy hunting. Play the games that you like and stream the games that you love. I'm out.